Hi YouTubers, welcome to another episode of All Things Triumph Tiger 1200. Today we are working on the bike's tachometer. Now what actually happened was my tachometer needle actually went backward by about 2000 RPM, so it was sitting about there and it was working fine, but it was showing only like 2000 RPM less than it should have. So what I did is I took the speed instrument cluster off, and I removed these outer screws here. That is the Phillips 2, and you can actually separate the inside from the outer casing. And I actually did use 2 teaspoons to lever, one from each side, to lever up the needle off of its base. And I refitted it back at the 0 position. You've got to be careful, the needle can move left and right. You just got to feel as to where it stops. As you turn it anti-clockwise, it stops at a certain point. You're going to make sure it stops at 0. I don't know what happened, whether I blipped the throttle too aggressively and somehow the inside needle spun inside the axle, spun inside this actual needle. Anyway, so I've returned it back to 0 and I'm hoping that's going to fix it. Now, just a few words of advice. It's always easy to pull something apart and put it together once you understand how it fits together. So the speedometer itself actually has these 3 pins. They push through these rubber grommets here, and bottom right. Now, the one on the bottom right actually has a screw as well. It's a torque screw which actually screws and holds it in place so it can't come loose. So I'm going to go ahead and fit that now. So I have put a bit of red rubber grease on the insides, and that definitely aids the fitting process. So the next step, you've got to put the screw back in there, and it's a torque screw. And it's going to take me a while because it's in a very confined space, and you have to use a little Allen key. I'm going to pause the video until I've done that. Right, once the screw has been screwed in, which takes a while because you can't get a screwdriver in there very easily, then the next step is to put the electrical plugins back. Just bear in mind there's a little clip here, so that needs to go back in until you hear a click. Also there's a little rubber boot which goes in over the top to keep the water out. Same with the right hand one, also has a little clip. So in she goes. There's the click. Rubber boot on, and double check that one did actually click in place. Last thing you want is to have to reattach everything. Yeah, that's not loose, it's a boot. Rubber booty back on. Okay. Then the last piece of the puzzle causes some consternation when you're actually trying to take it off. It's got a little rubber seal in here which is a bit loosey-goosey. So this outer piece also has 2 pins. Now the rubber grommets have actually come off and they're stuck on this one. They should actually probably be there and there. I'm going to try and clip them in without physically removing them and putting them back first. That might be a mistake, but let's try. And sometimes these little seals need a bit of red rubber grease to hold them in place. I'll spend the next 5 minutes putting them back on and on and on until they eventually do stay on. Yeah, stay in there. Right. To line these things up with the right holes and press. go. I've got a feeling the grommets are going to have to come off first, go back into their housings. It's not going to work otherwise. Okay, so we've got to fish these grommets off, put them back in the little hole there, and then this thing will just clip in nicely. So I'm going to pause while I remove those grommets. See you just now. Alright, back again. So I'll put the grommets back in their holes. Never trust a grommet, always put it back where it belongs. Otherwise the little pins will not fit. So I'll squeeze the gasket down a little bit. Gently put it in here without getting stuck on anything. Let you come off now. Stay on your little gasket. Okay. Line up the little pins on the grommets. And what's the word? Hey presto. Come on. Be difficult now. Be difficult to get your hands around this thing. Right. There's one. There's two. Okay, we're good. Check the gasket is properly seated. Yeah. So just for your information, when you do want to take these off, this plastic cover is very confusing. Like, oh, what do you do with that? Is there a screw? No, there's no screws. So to grab it with your fingernails on all the edges and wiggle, wiggle, wiggle until those two pins come out the grommets. Then you take the screw out the bottom left from this side, bottom left of the speedo, and you pull the speedo, the pins, the three pins out of its three grommets, and and don't forget to take the electrics out, and then you're done. So what I have to do now is put the windscreen back on, which means put the windscreen on, put the four screws in, and we're done. So hope that helps you with your speedo removal and fitting. Have a good day. Bye.